Hello, everyone. Getting ready to get started. We just opened up the room, so hopefully people will, as they're trickling in here, we'll just wait a second or so people can trickle in. But we are recording, and if you registered, we'll get a copy of the recording, and then we'll get started, and you can hear all about success with virtual assistants. So. Okay, Laura, I think the trickling has almost stopped. So I think everyone here is going to be here, knowing that we're all very busy people. But hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We are talking about filling the gaps using virtual assistants to revolutionize your law practice. My name is Jen Lee, aka Rebel Esquire, if you see my YouTube channel, and I am formerly a mild-mannered attorney turned superhero for lawyers who want to up-level their practice and change how the legal world is traditionally seen. And I do have Laura Parsons, my virtual assistant, with me today. Hey, Laura.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm Laura. I started my virtual assistant business back in 2017, and I work with just creative professionals. I am the guru behind the scenes. No one knows I'm there, but I am making all the things happen and ideas come to life. So that's what I spend my days.
Laura basically just makes me look really good and organized when I'm really not. So that's what she's here for. So let's jump right into how she does that and how she's done that for my law firm and now moving on to my consulting side of things. So what if I told you that there was a way to hire a virtual assistant to help with delegation and have all of those details? Would you do it? So that's what we're going to jump into is there's a way to do it, and we're going to tell you how at the end. But gaps, what gaps? I'm fine. Everything is fine. If you picture somebody with their hair on fire, that's us as lawyers. We are stressed, overwhelmed. We think that's the normal state of being. We are wrong. There are better ways. But when we start thinking about delegating and hiring a virtual assistant, our mind goes to, I have to think of all the things. I have to figure out all the things. How do I find them? How do I interview them? How do I hire them? How do I train them? How do I make sure they don't steal my stuff? I don't have time for all that research that goes into figuring out all that stuff. So I might as well just be perfect and not hire anybody and stress myself out. That's kind of the thought process that lawyers go through, and I've been there, I can tell you. So we are going to shortcut that and talk about our actual relationship that Laura and I developed over many years of working together and how bringing a virtual assistant on board really exponentially improves your law practice, your time management. It improves your revenue growth. We all like to make money, and we're going to use our relationship as the example for that. Okay, this isn't me. So if you've seen me, a picture of me, this is not me. But this is how I felt back before I met Laura. I needed help. It was a Sunday night. I was sitting in a recliner with my laptop. I had all of these great ideas, all these things I could be doing about how to grow my firm, improve client communications, automate things. I was automating before that was a cool word, creating more revenue, all of those things. I just didn't have either the time or the technical skills to really do that. And I was on Facebook, and a colleague had responded to one of my posts. They don't know who they are. And just basically saying my ideas wouldn't work, that no one's ever going to follow what I had posted about. And it was a new business idea, basically. And I always say, tell me something can't be done, and I will figure out a way to do it. So I got onto Facebook. I got onto my computer and I made a list of all of the things that I personally would like someone to do or help me with. And those things included website design, updating my website, posting videos, creating courses, doing the back end work, updating my speaking engagement calendar, creating like one sheet for various events that I was going to, marketing graphics, social media. A lot of it's marketing. And as a side note, all of these things I just mentioned are available in our free download of 100 things that a law firm can outsource to a VA. So that is on my website to outsource. But it was a lot of marketing. It was a lot of stuff that needs to get done. That's fun for me, but I just didn't have time. I belong to a huge Facebook group of moms who have their own businesses. I often saw posts in there about people trying to start virtual assistant companies or trying to hire virtual assistants. So I took my little list that I had made and I closed my eyes and I posted it. And I was like, please let me figure this out. Please let me figure out how to hire someone that would be able to fit the description. I asked them to reach out to me via DM. I got a bazillion DMs, of course, all over the world. Virtual assistants had a hard time figuring out this process. Please don't do what I did. I'm here to show you how not to do what I did, but get the results that you need. But I ended up interviewing 5 of them, and Laura was one of them. She was one of the 5 who responded, and it was basically the greatest thing since sliced bread since the very beginning. Laura got my style. She got my angle, all of those things. So Laura, from your perspective, what did you see in my post?
So first, for the record, when Jen says she posted a small list of things, I just want you to know it was a longer list than just a small list of things. The stars sort of aligned on our timetable because back then I was actually pretty new to the virtual assistant space. My whole background had been in marketing, and I decided I was going to do this on my own. And I saw your post, and I thought there's something about this one that's just resonating with me. I mean, everything you listed was in my wheelhouse. And on that group in particular, you've already mentioned people post all the time, and there was no way to ever respond to all of those. You really needed to like sort through and pick those, and yours really spoke to me. So I went to your socials, I went to your website. I don't know if you recall, but I actually like started following you as soon as I said I was interested, and I just felt, even before I had met you, this is someone who is creative. This is someone who has big ideas, and I know I could help them out. So I was thrilled when you asked to do a discovery call with me. And I mean, that call was probably one of the best discovery calls I've ever had. It did not feel out of place. Everything, I mean, we just sensed each other's vibe right off the bat. And I know for me, like it felt more like a brainstorming session by the end of it. I
It
mean,
did,
we
yeah. It felt like we got really into it, yeah.
like so into it, to the point where we were already talking, oh, okay, so you want to do this. Well, why do you want to do that? Oh, this is really what your goal is. So these things feed into that goal. And we were already putting together a plan that I had no idea if we were actually going to get to implement, but I was hoping we were going to get to implement it because it just went that well. So yeah, by the end of it, I mean, did you feel like you had
Yes.
ideas?
So
Like,
yes. So I will say, of all the ones I interviewed, and I was really fumbling in the dark, like I didn't know what I was doing, but I do often go by vibe and how things feel. I tend to be that way in business and personal. And Laura was the only one who got me to talk about my elephant. So my law firm has an elephant as the mascot, and she was the only one out of all of them that got to Bernadette. And I was like, well, that's my sign. At least she gets me and is not scared away yet. So it was pretty cool from the beginning. It did take a lot of trial and error, and I think I did a lot of things correctly from the beginning by picking the right VA, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, that does help. How do you
yeah,
get
but it can be
there?
hard. Yeah, it's hard to get there. So let's talk about some of those key strategies and statistics that Laura and I went through and what it resulted in through our process. And this is, 6, 7 years now we've been working on this. So in the law firm, my client experience immediately improved. Laura, one of her skills that she talked about when in our discovery call was her ability to automate and connect different systems together. So she connected my practice management system to our scheduling system, to our payment system, and everything became easy. Clients were happy. They were getting email confirmations. They were being able to schedule without calling and talking to us. Revenue went up right away. And lawyers, we hate no-shows. It's one of those things you're like, oh, you just have to get used to them. My no-show rate went to 0 once I had the right system set up for confirmations and payments, getting payments in beforehand. And Laura was pretty instrumental in that. And I would say that Laura did a great job of learning some of my systems, because case management systems for lawyers are different than a lot of other industries. So thank you, Laura, for
You're welcome.
coming on and learning all of those like random practice management things that lawyers do that are crazy. Let's talk about my website, Laura. What did I have out there on my website when I got to you?
You had a perfectly acceptable website. I know. So Jen you had put together your own website. It was fine. It did everything that a website should do, but we just analyzed it, took some time to say, okay, if I land on your homepage, like, what do you actually want me to do? And so by taking time to walk through it from a client's perspective, I mean, we were able to update all your service offerings, make sure your speaking engagements were listed. I mean, people want to know when they could come to see you, or even that you do offer speaking engagements. And then the newsletter was instrumental to
I
our
forgot about the
success.
newsletter.
The newsletter, yeah. We implemented that from scratch, right? Like that was brand new. And we always posted the archives on your website, but we sent those out monthly.
Yes. And I will say, as far as like strategies and statistics go, people still forward me newsletters from like 4, 5, 6 years ago that they received, that they saved because the information in it was good. They saved it and they'll forward it and say, hey, I need to schedule an appointment. And it was 5 years ago when I first emailed them. So newsletters can be very powerful. Yes, I know, it's crazy.
Amazing.
Other things that happened in my firm since I hired Laura, I ended up hiring 3 attorneys over the course of like the 3 years, the next 3 years, like the first 3 years I had her, I hired 3 attorneys to keep up with the growth. And I would email Laura and say, hey, another attorney, onto the website. Hey, another attorney, onto the website. She kept all that going for me, but it was because of her. And then I hired a business manager to help with some of the client communication, because getting stressed and overwhelmed is not my idea of fun. There are lots of things we can automate, but having a business manager in-house to help with all of that was because of all the revenue that was being generated by Laura's assistants and having an assistant doing that. Revenue growth. I was at about 100% year-over-year revenue growth for those first 3 or 4 years, and actually probably more than 3 or 4 years. I did sell off my law firm in 2022, and Laura's still working with me on projects and consulting. But that 100% revenue growth every year was pretty amazing considering what most bankruptcy firms were seeing. And a lot of that was attributed to Laura. And my ROI in year 1, like the first year I hired her, I think it was like late spring, like May, June time, going into a year later, I invested a small, to me, it was a decent amount of money into Laura. And we got back, I think, like 1,500% on what I invested into having Laura work on things. It was a crazy jump.
I mean, who would not want that return on investment?
It was a game changer. It really was.
Only my retirement fund was growing quickly.
And it wasn't just the dollar value. The time value that you saved me from
oh my gosh, yes.
crazy research I was doing, and all of the things I was trying to do on my own. And then, of course, what happens is it gave me the ability to create even more ideas for revenue, or be like, what are we doing today?
Always keeping it fresh. That's what I
Yes,
like.
all kinds of fun. So you do have to find a virtual assistant who works with your crazy style sometimes. So, as I said at the beginning, I did this trial and error. I got lucky. We looked into this. I've helped other firms hire virtual assistants now. And so, what Laura and I came up with is a new offering called Legal Leverage. And this is a course on virtual assistant delegation and efficiency. So, instead of going to random Facebook groups, trying to piece together advice, which I see a lot in my Facebook groups, I see people saying, how do I hire a virtual assistant? What do you have your virtual assistant doing? How are they paid? What does your contract look like? All of these things that lawyers tend to start thinking about. That's what we create this course for, to make it really easy to have checklists, to have uh, worksheets, to figure out all of those things that you need without spending hours hemming and hawing, which we do as lawyers, guessing, researching how others may have done it, and failing half the time, probably. So, Laura, what's in this course?
Yeah, so we took a lot of time to really break this down for you all. So, um, just like Jen was saying, you don't have to redo it. The worst thing, and probably one of your all's biggest fears of even hiring out help, is what if I hire the wrong person? So we wanted to make this course for you all to avoid that, if at all possible. So the first module, virtual assistants, they're not your employees, they're actually collaborators. They are working with you. And we really go into what that partnership looks like to make sure, there's that mutual respect from the get-go. The next module is actually finding a virtual assistant candidate. I mean, you can go to groups, you can go here. There's lots of different options and which one's right for you. So we break that all down so you know what's going to fit for your situation. We then jump into selecting and hiring and how to look at that objectively. Yes, the vibe is definitely important and works for you, but you also need to make sure what you're hiring out for can be covered. And it might not be covered by one person, it might have to be covered by multiple virtual assistants, but you want to make sure that they have their expertise. So we walk you through that as well. Onboarding, we break down all the methods, how to share logins, how to access your systems, and best practices behind that. Making sure you introduce key players so that your virtual assistant knows where everything goes and who they need to reach out to if they're missing something. We go into training plans, how to prioritize tasks, how to keep their expertise in mind at all times so that you are going to get the results that you initially hired for. And then we even break down like how you can outsource training or do in-house training and what that might look like. And then probably my favorite module is going to be biggest fears unlocked because we all have them. How do you respect confidentiality of your clients? Who has liability when things go wrong? And Jen is going to share her amazing practice secrets all around those fears.
All kinds of fun secrets in that one. So that's the most, I think that's the funnest module, to be honest, with the biggest fears I
Yes,
have.
definitely.
So, what we are offering for this is we do have an exclusive pre-sale offer because we like to keep things moving forward, and we have $400 off if you purchase between April 22nd, when we launched our pre-sale, through May 24th. The course goes live on May 28th, which is the day after Memorial Day. So I don't want you Memorial Day doing any work at all over that weekend, but it will go live that Tuesday morning. And normally it's a $997 course. We have it marked down to $597 for the pre-sale only. Once it goes live, it will be back to $997, and we are actually closing enrollment after the pre-sale because we want to have fun with the group of people who sign up and being able to answer questions and brainstorm and think about things. So we do have a special bonus too. There's a private 30-minute session with both of us to talk about your specific needs that can be used whenever you want. We use at the beginning, it can be used at the end. We can brainstorm ideas. We can introduce you to resources to find virtual assistants that we've personally worked with. You can use that 30 minutes for whatever you want. You can talk about your cat. We don't care, but you'll have us for 30 minutes. And so Laura put the link in chat for signing up. The recording will also have our link out there, but all kinds of fun things. Anything to add to my lovely slide here, Laura?
I just want to say that I hope that I get to do one of these 30-minute sessions. I just think it's so valuable, whether you're doing it before to figure out what exactly you need, or whether you're doing it after you take the course to say, okay, I learned this, this, and this, and I know I need help here, where you can just pick our brains, because we have been doing this together since 2017, and we have it down to a science, and you don't want to miss it. And I'm looking forward to that. Even if you do want to talk about your cat, I love cats. So
So that's our offer out there today. And the idea is to shortcut all of that craziness and the uncertainty and the fear of actually hiring a virtual assistant when you know you need to. Like, you have it in your brain, you need to do this, but you just don't know how to get started. That's what we're here for. So
definitely.
check us out. Send us any questions you have. We will also put video up on socials and YouTube channels and fun things like that. But that 30-minute bonus is only good for the day of the webinar viewing. So today. And feel free to reach out to us. But otherwise, thank you for attending. And I look forward to seeing everybody soon, either virtually or in person at some time.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Laura.
everybody.